Hey, welcome to Synergy Loves Company, where Disney connects to everything. I recently sat down with Rob Lachik from Rare Cuts Media Society to talk all about the NHL and Disney. And of course, you can't talk about NHL and Disney without talking about the Mighty Ducks, the movies, the team, the weird cartoon show that happened, all of it. We talked all Mighty Ducks. So take a look. But to talk about Disney and hockey, I think the number one place that we have to start is with the Mighty Ducks, which originally has nothing to do with the NHL. But those kids in Minnesota from that movie in like what 92 got something going in CEO Michael Eisner's head, and he decided after that the year after that movie was a success to buy a NHL hockey team out of nowhere too. It's not like he bought an existing team. They built a
No, it
new
was
team,
an expansion team.
an expansion
Yeah,
team.
it was an expansion team at the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
he,
So
supposedly he was trying to get into sports in general. That was my understanding, and then
okay. Yeah.
the NHL had an expansion team, kind of like on the docket, like this year with the Kraken. Um,
Which I had never heard
so
of,
it was
the Kraken, but
up until this moment.
I had heard of them with just kind of vaguely reading about the NHL. I was like, that's a thing? That's a team? The Kraken? Okay.
Yeah, so
Or like
this year
what's
it's
the
their
other one?
first year,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
so at the time, it was kind of it was an expansion team out of Anaheim. They're still in Anaheim. They're no longer owned by
Right.
Disney. They sold them. I want to say it was in the early 2000s. But supposedly he wanted to get into owning, and Disney wanted to get into owning some sort of sports franchise. But that's not a surprise. I mean, come on, how many big media companies and such like want to get into uh, professional sports teams ownership and such? Is that not a surprise? Yeah,
I was going to say they're probably the only types of people who are customers for that kind of thing, like a major corporation or just like a billionaire. Because like who
or
else
some
can
sort
buy?
of billionaire. Yeah.
Yeah, who could buy a team?
Yeah. I mean, even just the like if they're going to start as an expansion team and have to build their own arena or stadium or whatever it is. I mean, billions of dollars just to get started. So you and I have no chance
Oh
of
no,
ever potentially owning any sort
right?
of professional sports teams unless we hit like some sort of like Powerball jackpot or something like that.
That could be nice. That would be nice. Although I don't know if that would be the first thing on my list, but it
No,
eventually once you run out of things to spend that kind of money on. But so talking about like building a new stadium from scratch and all that stuff. One thing with Disney is the Anaheim, of course, Anaheim is where Disneyland is. So the Anaheim Mighty Ducks was kind of a big like self-promotional tool for them in that they had the stadium that they built not far from Disneyland. So maybe you'd come out for a game. Maybe you would have you'd visit the park on the way to the game or the way after. You'd make a whole weekend out of it. They even had some, I want to say back then they even had some like fan events at Disneyland where you could like meet the players and do some things like that. But then of course also it was promoting the very popular film franchise of the Mighty Ducks that we talked about starting early in the 1992. And I can remember as a kid kind of being confused a little bit about how like there was a real hockey team called the Mighty Ducks, and then there was a the kids hockey team in the movie, and they were the Mighty Ducks, but their jerseys were different until the second movie. And then the kids had the same jerseys as the real guys with that like that really cool logo they had back in the day that was like the hockey mask on the duck, like that kind of Disney
sure.
looking duck hockey mask
So
thing.
now I know you're not as keen into watching or aware of what's going on in the hockey world, but sadly, that is no longer
They don't have.
their logo. So that's not their main logo. That is their alternate jersey.
Will they use it as a
And
throwback?
I don't even think they do it as a throwback, but I don't even think it's white. I want to say it's like another color. So it's not like the duck like hockey mask face type of deal with the sticks. That's the same, but I want to say the background isn't white. It's I almost want to say it's like a gold, But so
Okay.
it looks very different. So they do wear it. I mean, just like any sports team has
Then
their
it's like a
alternate jersey
special
that they wear a couple
day or
games.
whatever.
But yeah, it's more, it's the logo's basically kind of like a shape of a D that like
Okay.
looks like it's like moving through the air real fast, and it's like shooting off the side like dripping. If you look at the logo, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they don't
Gotcha.
have that. Sadly, they don't have that old
The cool
logo from the movies. Yeah.
right that because well yeah it was not in the first movie. They had like the duck holding the hockey stick in the first movie, and then it was in the
Yeah.
second movie, but that's after the team had existed, which is weird. Which the duck with the thing, like I was taking a look, there was that animated TV show. I don't know, did you ever watch that animated TV show of the Mighty Ducks?
I can't say that I recall watching that.
I
No.
remember vaguely seeing it. It was only on like one season in 1996, and I remember watching it and being like even more like so. I think this is one of the problems with Disney's Mighty Ducks here. They had the kids playing hockey in Minnesota. They had the professional athletes playing hockey in Anaheim, and then they had these animated ducks that were from some weird like ice hockey planet that like played hockey. They were actual physical ducks that played hockey on this weird planet, and the main character was the mascot from the NHL team. So like the NHL team, his name was Wild Wing, and that became the main character of this animated show. So it was like they had three different Mighty Ducks, but they were all kind of connected in some ways. I think that's
I can see that looking at the logo. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it looks like some sort of like weird, like, I mean, it's like the face of a duck with its bill, like a bent hockey man. I can see it like an alien. Yeah, it's weird.
that's yeah. So they just kept like doing new versions of the Mighty Ducks, and none of them were as successful as the first movie original that came out. But hey, let's keep trying to do this. But no, I mean, I going back to the movies, I enjoyed the first and second movie. Have you how the third? Did you ever see the third movie?
I don't think I ever saw the third movie. I want to say I've seen the second one maybe twice. I know I've seen it at least once, but I've seen the first
Okay.
one numerous times. The first one's very good. I mean, it's a good
Yeah, the
movie
first
just
one's
in
pretty
general.
pretty iconic. So
Yeah.
the Emilio Estevez has to coach a hockey team for community service essentially, and awesomeness ensues.
Because what is he? What is he? A lawyer, I think, in the first
Gordon
movie.
Bombay,
And then, yeah.
he's a lawyer. That's
It,
he goes to his boss and gets the funding, and he's quack quack quack, Mr. Ducksworth, and that's like he starts quacking at the Mr. Ducksworth. The guy's name was Mr. Ducksworth, the guy who ran the law firm, and the team he was going to sponsor was the Mighty Ducks.
God, that's ridiculous. I forgot that aspect of it. That's a
You gotta
deep
bring
cut
that-
there, Eric H.
Got to bring that gem up. So no, the first and second. Well, the first one is like they're just like making a good team. The second one is the one where they do the whole. It's like kind of like a kids Olympics thing. So they put like more of a national team together. And then the third one is really weird in that they get scholarships to like this prep school because they did so well in that hockey tournament Olympics type thing. And then they have to give up being a Mighty Duck to play at this prep school. So they're like conflicted and they want to be Ducks, but it's not the best. So yeah, no, yeah. Now there is a new
Probably another fine example
Yeah.
of not making too many sequels.
so at some point it overstays its welcome, right? Now there is a
Yes,
new
exactly.
Mighty Ducks Game Changers, it's called, and it's a continuation of the movies, but it takes place now. It's on Disney Plus, and it's got Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls, and basically she's working for Mr. like the Ducksworth law firm, and she then goes and like basically starts a team to go up against the Mighty Ducks because they have become like the elite team, that like in the first movie, like the Ducks were like trying to go against that elite team to like take them down a peg because like only one team could be so like she leads a team kind of in the same footsteps. And I don't remember. Do you remember in the movie? There's like a there's like an old man who runs a sporting goods store who like is kind of a mentor to Emilio Estevez, and he like he's like
Oh
working on
yes.
skates and sticks. And well, in this new one, Emilio Estevez is the old man mentor guy to Lauren Graham, who's the
No.
coach. Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Was
It's
did
it's
did a
not bad.
loan come due for Emilio Estevez that he had to do something like this?
Yeah, it's I will say it could be worse. It could be. I might rank it above the third Mighty Ducks movie. I'll give you that. It's better. It's better than that. I still like two though. I still like two. I'm not gonna lie. I do like two. They have that. I think I was most impressed by the soundtrack of two because it had
Okay.
"Whoomp There It Is" on it, and I was impressed that the song "That Cool" would be on a soundtrack when I got it in the '90s. But that's a side thing. I think we've gotten a little bit away from the NHL, so I want to talk a couple more things about the real NHL team of the Mighty Ducks because they sold a lot of jerseys. They sold a lot of
Yes.
jerseys. That's for sure. Because, I mean, that was kind of the thing. I think I read somewhere that in like their first year or so, they accounted for 80% of like NHL
Oh,
gear.
that wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, think of the movie coming out and being real popular, and all these kids around
And now
Christmas
it's a real
time or
team.
something.
So it's
Get
like,
me a jersey, get a shirt,
right.
something. So I could totally see that.
Well, they'd sell it at Disney stores and things like it wasn't just you could go to a mall and you could get a Ducks jersey at the Disney
sure.
store, but then you could get a Ducks or like a Blackhawks jersey at the like Champ Sports or Foot Locker or whatever too.
Oh yeah.
So like it had more people had
That
more
was
access
everywhere.
to
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh totally.
Then the first game, I watched a little video of it. At the first game, they like did pyro and a whole like Disney show at the stadium, and it was like Disney on Ice, Beauty and the Beast, Disney on Ice. Then they brought out this guy called the Iceman, and he's like, he had a guitar, but he didn't play it much. And then he was like yelling, and that's when they like bring out Wild Wing down from the ceiling. And it was Disney on Ice for like 20 minutes before the game even started. And the reason I bring up the jerseys and the Disney on Ice experience is like Disney was able to use this to like push the movies and the merchandise and the team and all that stuff. But I got to ask you, as the hockey fan, were the Ducks any good back in the day?
Well, I mean, back in the day, oh god, I can't even remember. But I mean, for a number of years in the, I want to say the 2010s or whatever you would call that decade. I don't know, 20 teens, whatever it is.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, I want to say the late 2000s, they had some really good teams. I mean, this was, I believe, because when did they sell off? It was post Disney. So
yeah,
I 2003, I want to say, or early 2000s, I think was when Disney sold the team. But you know what? I think it goes back to
it's
kind of what you
2006.
said, and 2006. Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but I remember when the Blackhawks started getting better, like late 2000s, and some of the early playoff runs. I want to say they played them once or twice. So they were a playoff team. They were a relatively good team. They had some really good players at the time. But yeah, I think there's a thing you brought up that I wanted to bring up too, was like, and I think this goes into the current state of the NHL on ESPN. I think there's definitely like the aspect of utilizing the NHL as a way to market themselves versus like if you're a typical owner of a football team or a basketball team or a hockey team, NHL hockey team, right? We're talking about NHL. You're going to get people to come to watch your team if they're good. So your incentive to get people to come is to be a good team. where I think Disney probably used. I'm sure they wanted to have a good team, right? Who wouldn't?
Well, yeah.
But I think their main piece was, how can we use this to push all of our other franchises, just like you said, with
synergy,
the about having like the big big thing before the games, like with the skaters on ice, almost kind of like a Disney on Ice type of deal.
Disney on
before
Ice,
a hockey game, right? So I think they definitely used the NHL as a platform to push their other franchises and other parks and everything else. So I don't know if their heart was true as a whole to like, hey, we're in this. I mean, it's a business, right? They want to make money in that, but
of course,
once again, like I said, the main incentive you're going to make more money if you get more people to come to sit in your stands. Generally, no one's going to want to go sit and watch a team that stinks. So
correct.
I think, I think that was probably part of, maybe who knows, maybe part of the reason they sold it is that it kind of run its course for Disney. And then they said, well, there's nothing more really we can do with this to like cross merchandise other things. So let's just move on. But we could talk about more about that from the current state.
Yeah, definitely. That would have been after they, like, when you're talking about them getting better and things like that, it's definitely after they sold the team, and they weren't the Disney team anymore. But yeah, no, it's definitely that synergy piece that Disney loves, that let's use our parks to promote our, hockey team, that's going to promote our movie, that's going to promote this new TV show that's a spinoff of our hockey team, and that kind of thing. That's something they're generally pretty great at. But I think they didn't have the let's get the hockey team to be the best. They went right into let's cross promote and synergize this thing right away. I mean,
and the other thing I think with that is let's be honest. I mean, hockey is not, the NHL and hockey in general is not the most popular sport in North America. I mean, that's definitely football, and then probably sure. NBA is a close second behind that, or baseball. Probably a balance of one of those two. I mean, they're different seasons of the year. So, they're at least at fourth, if not past that. I mean, so there's certain parts of the country where it's extremely popular. I mean, Northeast, the upper Midwest. I mean, it's extremely popular. But I mean, some of the southern markets. I mean, who even? I mean, if you're in Alabama or in Georgia. I mean, there's probably unlikely you're going to have a backyard rink to play some ice hockey in the middle of winter. So you kind of lose that aspect of it's part of your culture. It's part of something you do during that season of the year kind of deal. Kind of like everybody has the ability to play baseball because in the summertime it gets warm. You can go out and play baseball.
If you like this video, like and subscribe. If you really like this video, visit synergylovescompany.com for the full audio podcast.